Good day and welcome to S24 Rundown, where we bring you the latest developments and major stories making headlines from across the country and beyond. I'm Gloria Atta, and our news in brief comes up after the break. Stay with us. To start with, the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit has uncovered new methods being used to finance terrorist operations, including crowdfunding, proxy bank accounts, and SIM cards linked to deceased persons. According to its 2025 annual report, foreign-based facilitators solicit donations online under the guise of humanitarian or educational support before routing the funds through money mules in Nigeria. The NFIU said the money is converted to cash or used to purchase items such as motorcycles, fertilizers, and satellite internet equipment. It also identified the use of women's accounts controlled by male operatives and coded transaction descriptions to evade detection. The unit urged stronger intelligence sharing and identity verification, while security experts called for authorities to follow the money trail and sanction institutions that facilitate illicit transactions. Meanwhile, presidential candidates and political figures are disagreeing over insecurity, fuel subsidy, and policing ahead of the 2027 elections. At the NBA's 66th Annual General Conference in Port Harcourt, Peter Obi called for an overhaul of Nigeria's security architecture, linking insecurity to poverty, unemployment, and corruption. Omoyele Sowore said he would retain fuel subsidy if elected, arguing that its removal has benefited political elites. He also proposed greater security funding, technology, and a 500,000 naira minimum wage. Rotimi Amechi, however, stressed economic empowerment and intelligence gathering while favoring community policing over state police. Donald Duke argued that Nigeria does not have a genuine fuel subsidy regime and said the country should use its crude resources to make petroleum products more affordable. Adewale Adebayo backed policing at federal, state, and local government levels. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu's chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, defended state police but stressed the need for safeguards against political abuse. He said Nigeria has one police officer to about 650 people compared to an international benchmark of 1 to 450. Now, away from politics, President Bola Tinubu has directed that legally cleared funds recovered by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, be considered for funding the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund. The president also approved the consideration of unclaimed dividends from capital market trust funds and dormant account funds for the student loan scheme, subject to legal requirements. The Minister of Education, Maruf Alausa, said the measures are aimed at making NELFund financially sustainable as its obligations grow. He said only recovered EFCC funds free from litigation and other legal restrictions would qualify. The Attorney General of the Federation will work with the Ministers of Finance and Education to establish the legal framework for implementing the directive. The new funding sources will complement NELFund's existing 15% allocation from the development levy. More than 1.2 million students currently benefit from the scheme, with over 322 billion disbursed for institutional fees and upkeep as of August 8. Now, the federal government says investing in women's health is critical to achieving Nigeria's ambition of becoming a $1 trillion economy. The Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, stated this at the Health Hapa Conference, Africa 2026 in Abuja. Represented by the Director General of the Mariam Babangida National Center for Women's Development, Dr. Adedayo Benjamin Slani, the minister said women's well-being must be treated as a foundation for sustainable development. She called for stronger collaboration among government, the private sector, civil society, and healthcare professionals to improve women's access to healthcare. Former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi also urged political leaders to link women's health and education with economic growth. The conference convener, Dr. Victory Njoku, said the foundation would take the initiative beyond the conference through community outreach programs focused on maternal and reproductive health, mental wellness, education, and leadership. Now, former President Goodluck Jonathan has warned that the poor global ranking of African universities could hinder the continent's technological and industrial development. Jonathan spoke in Abuja while delivering a lecture to participants of Course 34 of the National Defense College. He noted that no African university currently ranks among the world's top 100, while only the University of Cape Town features among the top 200. The former president called for greater investment in education and specialized institutions capable of producing skilled manpower in science, technology, engineering, and information technology, citing Singapore and India as examples. Jonathan said deliberate investment in education and human capital had helped drive their economic transformation. He also warned that Africa could miss out on the current technological revolution if it failed to develop its young population and transform its abundant natural resources into high-value products. Meanwhile, the Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa, said industrial capacity is critical to Nigeria's economic growth, national resilience and security. Musa urged African countries to pursue industrialization, innovation, and continental economic cooperation, including through the African Continental Free Trade Area. Now turning to the international scene, China says it will take necessary measures to protect its interests after the United States announced new sanctions targeting Iran. Washington has threatened what it described as the economic asphyxiation of Iran, including penalties against some entities in China and expanded secondary sanctions. China's foreign ministry spokesman, Lin Jian, criticized the measures as illegal unilateral sanctions, saying Beijing firmly opposes them. He warned that China would take all necessary steps to protect its rights and interests. The development could further strain relations between Washington and Beijing while increasing pressure on Iran's economy. Now moving on to business news with Shukra Oniyi. Hello, Shukra. What's happening in the world of business today?
Quite a lot, actually, as the 137 million naira loss is on Nigeria. The Nigerian stock market starts week on a negative note, losing 137.12 billion naira in the market value. The Dangote refinery drives a seven-fold jump in Nigeria's petroleum products exports. Nigeria's economic outlook continues to attract attention as development in the domestic market shapes investor sentiment, and global oil markets remain in focus as investors weigh supply concerns and geopolitical risk. Let's discuss details. The Nigerian stock market begin to new trading week on a negative footing as investors continue to take profit from some recently gained stocks. Market capitalization fell by 137 billion naira, while the NGX All Share Index declined. The decline was fairly broad-based, while 32 stocks recorded losses compared with 18 gainers. However, it wasn't all bad news. The market year-to-date remaining firmly positive at 53.64%. Equities have continued to perform strongly too this year. Trading activities also increased significantly, about 638. So while the markets opened the week in a red, investors are still keeping a close eye on opportunities across the sector. Now from the stock market to the Nigerian oil industry. Nigeria's petroleum exports have increased dramatically, with export rising sevenfold since 2026. The U.S. Energy Information Administration says the growth has been largely driven by the ramp-up operation at the Dangote refinery. In the second quarter of 2026, Nigeria has exported about 130,000 barrels per day of petroleum products to Europe, compared with the 40,000 barrels per day a year earlier. Exports to other African countries also climbed up to 120,000 barrels per day. At the same time, Nigeria's seaborne imports of petroleum products have dropped sharply from almost 400,000 per day in 2023 below 130,000 barrels. The shift is significant because it suggests Nigeria is gradually moving from being heavily dependent on imported refined products to becoming more important suppliers within the regional markets. And finally, oil remains a major talking points in the global market. Investors are watching movements in crude prices closely, particularly as geopolitical tension and concerns about potential disruptions continue to influence market sentiment. And for Nigeria, this is particularly important. Oil remains central to government revenue and foreign exchange earnings, meaning changes in global crude prices can have a direct impact on government finances, the naira, and broader economy. So while the development at home is shaping Nigeria's business, broader landscape events too can shape it. And that's a wrap on today's business update. I am Onyie Shukra. Stay with us.
Thank you, Shukra, and welcome back. Up next is S24 Report coming to you after the break.
Young people make up the significant part of the Nigeria population, but how interested are they in the country's political affairs? Today, we took to the street to find out what Nigerians see. Would they believe young people are interested enough in colleges? Let's hear from them.
Nigerians, the youths now, most of the youths, they don't go out, they don't go out to vote because we have these feelings that when you vote, your vote will not count. Okay, like the last election, you know how it went. People went out in masses to vote, and at the end of the day, they still announced the person they wanted to attack. So there's already a lot of people might not even come out this year because you've already accepted that even if you vote, your vote will not count. I don't trust politicians, so there's no way now. But I feel like the youths, we're not ready yet, because these people still have more power over us, because most times we spend our time on social media. Social media is not polling units. It's not a polling. There's no polling unit for social media. So instead of us tweeting, talking on social media, the noise on social media is more than the action on the polling units. So most youths, you see them talking on social media, but when it comes to going out there to vote, they don't. Some people will just say, even if I vote, go count. They will still give anybody where they want to give. See, politically, that's what I don't trust any politicians.
Actually, most young Nigerians are interested in politics, but the privilege, they don't have it. Now in politics, now, look at this present dispensation. The youth are supposed to be engaged with politics 100%, while let the older ones go back to their seats. When you look at the civil service now, somebody who has gotten to retirement age, he will never be retired, and is blocking chances for others, for the other youth. You can look, for instance, now, if there is an Ivy open by the federal government to educate more youth on politics, more youth we call. You see a graduate going on with his first class, going on getting this Uber. So why? But there's no work. So the government should try and do this to let the youth be involved in politics. Because we have a lot of youth who are involved in politics, but you are not given the privilege to go and buy the form or contest for anything simply because they don't have God. Or that is it. That's one of those that is chaos in Nigeria now. So what I'm trying to appeal to my fellow youth, let's stand, arise, and fight for our rights, so that we too will have that privilege to participate in politics. The reason is that we are not doing it for ourselves, but for the unborn generation, so that they'll see that this is what the youth did. But you don't follow the step of the old school, the babas. So you don't follow their step. You look at now, you see most of those politicians, look at 70-something, 80-something. They are thinking is too dull. But if this is a youth who is aiming the aim of a fear, is thinking, youthful. Thank you.
Many of them are interested in politics, but the old men in politics don't want to give them space. They're not allowing them to go into politics. Instead, they're using them as stocks instead of allowing them to participate in politics. They are not tired. We need to retire these old politicians so that the young ones can take over. Because many of them, the old men, don't know what they're doing now. We need the younger ones to participate I want to plead with the older politicians to allow the younger ones to participate. They want to participate, and they want to give their best to the country. Please, I want to plead that they allow the younger ones to participate in politics, and it will be well for Nigeria and gives us the...
From the responses we heard, it is clear that opinions differ on how they involve young people are in politics. While some believe young people are more politically aware, others think they see lots more participation there. I am Gibat Villa, reporting for S24 Rundown.
Welcome back from that break. This is Political Arena. We're having conversation with Barrister Zainab Mukhtar Ruma, a legal practitioner. Barrister, thank you for staying with us. Barrister, let us speak on the political aspect of fake news. You know, in the next 76 months, Nigerians are going back to elect their own leaders. So how can Nigerians use social media in ensuring good people see the light of the day?
Well, you know, social media is a platform that gives you access to a lot of audience. And if you have a candidate and you feel that candidate is a good person and that candidate has potentials, you can come out on social media and say them. But you should try not to say them in the way that it will mislead the public or cause any kind of religious tension or any kind of violence and all of that. So I feel it is a good thing to come out because, to be very honest, most of our youths out there are going out to vote. They don't even know why they are voting the person they are voting. But then if people come out online to like write about the person, and then we will be able to know more about the
those responsible behind that.
Exactly. So you know that more.
Okay, so what challenges do law enforcement agencies face in prosecution of those offences? What challenges does law enforcement agency face in terms of prosecution? Now, maybe you wanted to do your job as a barrister, or maybe some senior government official will just give you a phone call. Stay out of this case. How can we solve that?
Well, personally, I've never experienced that. And so I would say there is separation of power in Nigeria, and there is that for the purpose of check and balance.
Barrister, there is also fusion of power too.
There is that, but then even at that, the judiciary is
little bit independent.
Exactly.
Yeah, little
Not
bit independent.
little bit. I would say they are independent.
But barrister, we have seen how the ruling party have been manipulating some of the court verdicts, allegedly.
You are not even sure of that. I don't think I'm in a position to comment on something I'm not sure of. I do not have enough evidence on. I really would not say anything on something I've not like.
You are of the belief and you have the perception that the judiciary are ultimately independent.
I am of the belief that they are ultimately independent, and even if you feel they are being influenced or coerced into making some decisions, maybe that's your belief.
But barrister, so what can you say about the cases of like Walter Onange? Okay, let us not just dwell much. How can Nigerians strike a balance between protecting freedom of speech and maintaining public order?
You know, as I said earlier, simply because you have the freedom of expression, that does not give you
the avenue, opportunity.
Yes, that freedom of expression is subject to certain limitations. You cannot just go out and spread fake news, hate speeches on people, and then just say you have the freedom to be expressive.
So, beyond legal action, what other measures can help us to reduce hate speech and misinformation in Nigeria?
I would say awareness,
awareness.
Like what we are currently doing,
yeah.
Like by letting people know how much fake news affect us.
Because we saw what happened in Rwanda. the genocide that happened between Hutu and Tutsi.
Exactly.
And it all started just as a fake news via radio broadcast, and it went ahead and claimed thousands of lives.
Exactly. So when people see cases like that, it like helps them to understand the effects of it. So when you make awareness to the younger generations, you make awareness to not even the younger generation,
even the older one.
Yes, I feel everyone out there, if they understand the gravity of what they are doing, I feel it will like limit the spread of fake news. Yes.
As a legal practitioner, what legal advice do you have for Nigerians to avoid legal trouble when expressing their own opinions online?
I would say whatever they are saying out there should not like be an attack to anyone or a threat, or like be a false information, whether recklessly or deliberately. It should not be that. So they should try as much as they can to like say the things, express themselves without harming another person.
Of course. What reforms, if any, will you recommend to strengthen Nigerian legal response to fake news and hate speech? Or you're okay with that, with the way things are going, or would you like to recommend any reform?
I am not really okay with the way things are going, but I would say
there are still reforms that needed to be done.
Yes, exactly.
Barrister, I want to ask you a little bit about your work. You know, I always want to have a conversation with a legal practitioner like you, and today I'm lucky I have you in the studio. Can you elaborate more? Because it's only on the judicial sector that you will see this house are saying that says Sharia Sabani Hankali. And what is the major reason why, in Nigerian case, a person will just steal and you will caught him red-handed, and if you go to the court, they will continue to call him he's innocent until he is proven guilty. Yes. Why?
Because you know it's better to like let go of criminals than to punish an innocent person. Whether you can go as a witness, you can go to the court and give your
testify.
Give your testimony. So I would, since the judge that is judging it, they know, even if the judge witnesses that himself, that person, the lawyer needs to prove that beyond reasonable doubt or beyond balance of probability that this person commits the offense. That's so that you will not end up punishing an innocent person for a crime that person never commits. So I would say in that aspect, the law protects the person involved.
Well, so, Barrister, you came from one of the most affected areas when it comes to the issue of insecurity, yes. That is Katsina State. In your humble opinion, as a Nigerian, are you supporting state police?
State policy on?
State police, the creation of state police, yeah.
Yes.
Or you think they are going to complicate the issue of governance?
I don't think they would complicate the issue of governance, because they like have more link with the grassroots, and most of these issues are coming
local.
From the they are coming from the grassroots. It hardly comes from someone outside or from someone so far.
It's within.
Yes, it's always within. So you know, the state police, I don't think they are complicating things more.
The issues.
Yes.
Okay, Barrister, we are still approaching election, and from all indications, this election is going to be one of the best elections so far,
Inshallah.
Because it's going to be between the ruling party who want to maintain the power and the opposition party who want to gain power at all cost. So what are your calls to Nigerians out there ahead of 2027?
My call to Nigerians out there is to know that they have the right to vote and to be voted for, and they should use their rights to vote well. They should go out, get their PVC, and also do not vote the party. You should vote the person. Simply because you are saying, oh, I'm for the APC, doesn't mean you have to vote every person that contests on the APC simply because that person is on the APC. Go learn the person. As I said earlier, if you ask most of the people out there, even those, including those that voted in the last
Elections,
and those that have the intention of voting this election, they don't know why they are voting the person they are voting. What has that person promised to do for us? What has the person done so far? You understand? That person, who is that person as a person? You understand the core humanity of that person. Those are the kind of things that will affect us when the person becomes our ruler. So I will tell Nigerians to go out there, vote people they know, people they understand, and all of that.
Barrister, you're advocating for meritocracy instead of self-centered politicians.
Yes.
Well, Barrister, let's go for another break. When we come back, we're going to take the last part of this conversation.
Okay.
We are watching Political Arena here on S24 television. Let's go for another break.
At the center of this one is a 28-year-old entrepreneur who is helping to breathe new life into Zimbabwe's leather industry. Paula's journey into entrepreneurship began long before she ever imagined building a leather brand. Orphaned at just 9 years old, she learned early that survival meant working hard. As a teenager, she helped her aunt sell products at a flea market. But everything changed when she encountered a craftsman known to her as Mr. Sitho. But there was one problem: capital. Leather production requires money, and Paula didn't have much of it. So, instead of waiting for the perfect opportunity, she created her own business model.
Because I did not have enough capital to start the leather business. By the way, it is a high capital business. So what I would do is, we started with shoes as our first product. So what I would do is I would go to the clients and then advertise the product, get a deposit which would cover cost of production to Mr. Stole. Then I deliver the product to the client, then get the balance as my profit.
But as demand grew, another problem emerged. Skilled workers were hard to find. Some of the craftspeople she hired could not meet the quality her customers expected. So, Paula made a bold decision. If she couldn't find the right workers, she would train them herself. Then came a challenge that threatened businesses around the world: COVID-19. As Zimbabwe went into lockdown and businesses shut their doors, Paula had to rethink how Rukanda Pride would survive. Her answer: take the business online and find a way to get the products to customers.
As we were in lockdown, I was working with someone who was working from home and I was working online. What I then just decided to do was get into a partnership with a delivery company that would then do the deliveries for me. They would go and collect deposits for me, come back to me, write receipts, go and collect the products and deliver to the client, obviously for a fee, but it would be billed to the client. So we made money during COVID doing the very same thing, because most people had birthdays, had Valentines, had a lot of things, but they didn't have a lot of options considering most stores were closed. So competition was minimal.
Paula's story is a part of a much bigger one. Zimbabwe has a significant advantage in the leather value chain, thanks to its large livestock population. But despite the potential, the country's leather industry has struggled over the past 2 decades. Economic disruption and the closure of major leather companies weakened Zimbabwe's position in the global markets.
Trying to improve in terms of value addition, access to machinery, technology, those are the challenges that the leather value chain is facing. But thanks to the strategy that we have, there are solutions, there are steps where partners, the government, and the players are finding opportunities that can re-establish the leather value chain or even make it better.
For the industry to truly recover, challenges remain. Access to finance, modern machinery, technology, and reliable electricity. They are some of the barriers facing leather producers.
When you've got a skills base as good as what we have in the leather value chain, chances of establishing new factories, new companies, very easy. The only issue is that we need access to finance, right? Once we have got access to finance, life becomes very easy.
For Paula, one of the biggest turning points came after COVID-19. The money Rukanda Pride made during the pandemic was reinvested into the business. She bought her first machines, second-hand, but good enough to take the company to its next level.
After COVID, that's when real production of Rukanda Pride started, because the money that we made in COVID is what we then used to buy our first machines, which were second-hand machines, but they worked what we wanted at that time. So again, we started with shoes. Then we discovered a need, because most of our clients then would say, okay, you're selling us shoes, but they need to match with the belts.
What began with one entrepreneur, one craftsman, and a simple arrangement has grown into a recognized Zimbabwean brand. From a craftsman's workshop under a tree, to a registered company, to a growing team, Rukanda Pride is becoming a symbol of what can happen when limited resources meet determination. Zimbabwe's leather industry may have lost ground, but people like Paula Marowa are proving that its story is not over. And every shoe stitched, every belt cut, and every new worker trained, there is another attempt to rebuild an industry with enormous potential. For Paula, Rukanda Pride is more than a business. It is a proof that sometimes you don't need to start with a lot. You simply need to start.
From tackling mob violence to pushing back against banditry and now strengthening military cooperation with the United States, security remains a major conversation across Nigeria. Here are the latest developments you should know. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunju Disu, has ordered a nationwide crackdown on jungle justice and mob violence. Disu has directed commissioners of police across the 36 states and the FCT to treat every case of mob action as homicide, with full investigations and prosecution of those involved. The IGP says no individual or group has the legal right to arrest, convict, or punish another person based simply on suspicion, rumors, or what is seen on social media. He stressed that an accusation is not proof of guilt and urged Nigerians to hand suspected criminals over to security agencies instead of taking the law into their own hands. Disu's warning comes amid growing concerns over mob killings, where suspects have been beaten or killed before security agencies can even intervene. His message to Nigeria is clear: Nigeria operates under the rule of law, not mob rule. Meanwhile, there's a reported improvement in the security situation in Sabon Bini local government area of Sokoto State. The council chairman, Hashimu Dantudu, says bandit attacks have reduced significantly since the deployment of armored vehicles procured by the state government. According to him, the vehicles have also increased the presence of security personnel across the area. Sabon Bini has faced persistent attacks from bandits, making the reported improvements particularly significant for residents. The Sokoto state government recently procured 62 armored vehicles and 2,000 motorcycles for distribution to security agencies to strengthen operations against bandits and other criminals. The council chairman says sustained security efforts could eventually help bring banditry under control. And finally, in Bauchi State, Nigeria and the United States are taking their security partnership a step further. U.S. and Nigerian forces are conducting a series of military training exercises at operating location Bauchi aimed at strengthening military capability, readiness, and cooperation. The training includes unmanned aircraft systems, combat casualty care, weapons familiarization, camouflage, water treatment, explosive ordnance disposal, and small unit tactics. One of the training sessions focused on drones, with U.S. personnel teaching members of the Nigerian Air Force Special Forces regiments how to operate unmanned aircraft systems. The U.S. says the training is based partly on areas identified by Nigerian forces as useful to their operations. Beyond the technical skills, both countries says the exercises are also helping their personnel build stronger working relationships and improve their ability to operate together. With Nigeria facing security challenges across several fronts, partnerships like this could provide additional expertise and capacity for the country's security forces. Now, from the streets and communities to the battlefield, the message remains the same and a reminder that security is a shared responsibility. Do stay safe. Thank you for watching.
Hello and welcome to Tech World Update, where we discuss technology, innovation and digital world. I am Aisha Muhammad. Here's what's shaping ICT from Nigeria to the global stage. Today's headlines focus on Nigerians' push for greater control over its critical digital infrastructure, a major South Korean investment in Africa's artificial intelligence ecosystem, and the use of AI and advanced mapping technology to improve disaster preparedness. We begin in Nigeria. The National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, has inaugurated the National Sovereign Cloud Initiative Implementation Task Force. The task force will oversee the implementation of Nigeria's sovereign cloud strategy, including efforts to expand local data center capacity and strengthen the protection of critical national digital assets. The initiative reflects growing concerns around data sovereignty as government and businesses increasingly depend on cloud infrastructure. For Nigeria, building stronger local cloud capacity could provide greater control over sensitive data while supporting the country's expanding digital economy. Across Africa, South Korea is making a major investment in Africa's artificial intelligence infrastructure. The country is committing approximately $170 million towards an AI and data infrastructure development program in Tanzania. The investment represents South Korea's first major AI infrastructure expansion into Africa and is expected to support the development of data and computing capacity. The move also highlights growing international competition to invest in Africa's emerging AI ecosystem as countries seek access to the computing infrastructure needed to support next-generation technologies. And finally, on the international stage, the Philippine Government Department of Budget and Management has approved approximately $18 million for Project NOAA, an initiative focused on using artificial intelligence to strengthen disaster preparedness. The project will combine AI modeling, LIDAR mapping, and real-time flood prediction to improve the ability to identify and respond to climate-related risks. By combining detailed geographical data with predictable AI systems, authorities hope to identify vulnerable areas earlier and provide more accurate information for disaster response. The development demonstrates how AI is increasingly moving beyond commercial application and into areas directly connected to public safety and climate resilience. And that's Tech World Update, where innovation meets impact and the future stays in focus. Stay informed, stay connected, and join us again for more stories shaping the digital future. But do stay with us as Entertainment News Update is up next. Thank you and bye for now.
From music and fame to the magical world of Hogwarts, we've got some interesting entertainment stories making the headlines today. Wandiko is setting the record straight on who deserves credit for his success. Timi Dakolo is warning aspiring celebrities about the price of fame, while HBO has found a new guilty, Lockwood, for its highly anticipated Harry Potter series. Welcome to today's entertainment update. Nigerian singer Wandiko says God and not his former record label boss, Don Jazzy, deserves the credit for his success. Speaking on an interview, the singer acknowledged Don Jazzy's role in his career, but described their journey as two talented people working together. However, Wandiko made it clear that he ultimately gives all the glory to God. The singer was discovered in 2006 after performing at an event at the University of Lagos. He was subsequently signed to More Hits, where he gained wider recognition through the label's compilation album. In 2009, he released his debut album, Mushin to More Hits, which further established him as one of Nigeria's leading voices. Wandi later left Marvin's Record and went on to establish his own record label, Black Diamond Entertainment. From success to the realities of being famous, Timi Dakolo says anyone seeking the spotlight must be prepared for the scrutiny that comes with it. The singer recently found himself at the center of social media speculation after a photo of him carrying a little girl at an event went viral. Some social media users claimed the child was his love child, but Dakolo quickly dismissed the rumor. He explained that he only carried the girl after she refused to return to her mother. For Dakolo, the incident is a reminder of how easily innocent moments can be twisted online. His message to aspiring celebrities is simple: grow a thick skin. Fame can bring attention, but it can also bring rumors, criticism, and constant public scrutiny. And finally, we are heading to Hollywood, where Game of Thrones star Kit Harington is taking on a new magical role. Harington is joining HBO's Harry Potter series as the flamboyant wizard Gilderoy Lockhart, replacing Nicholas Hoult, who exited the second season because of scheduling conflicts. The role is particularly fitting for Harington, who has previously voiced Lockwood in an audio version of a Harry Potter book. The author is also a huge fan of the franchise and has described the opportunity to play Lockwood as a dream role. The second season will adapt Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, following Harry and his friends through their second year at Hogwarts. The series is planned to run for multiple seasons, with HBO aiming to bring all 7 books to television. And that's a wrap on today's entertainment update. Wandiko giving God the glory for his success, Timi Dakolo warning about the realities of fame, and Kit Harington stepping into the magical world of Hogwarts. I am Linus Kuyet, and thanks for watching.
Good day, sports lovers. The action is hot, the drama is even hotter, and we've got all the latest stories you need to know. From a thrilling London Derby to where Chelsea and edged Fulham in a 4-goal thriller to Nigeria's Falconers setting their sights on Poland and strong FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup campaign. And in boxing, the highly anticipated Joshua Fury showdown may still be alive despite a few bumps along the road. I am Stephen A. and this is your sports updates. Let's get straight into it. Chelsea have come out on top in a dramatic London derby, edging Fulham 3-2 in the game packed with goals, intensity, and plenty of excitement. Leading the charge for the Blues was Cole Palmer, who once again showed why he remains one of Chelsea's biggest attacking threats. The encounter had everything you would expect from a derby: attacking football, quick transitions, and moments that kept the fan on the edge of their seats. Chelsea ultimately held their nerves to secure all 3 points, while Fulham will be left wondering how they allowed the game to slip away. For Chelsea, though, it's a valuable victory and another confidence boost as they continue their campaign. From London to Poland, Nigeria's Falconets are on their way to the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup, carrying the hopes of millions of Nigerian football fans with them. The young Nigerian side will be looking to make their mark on the global stage and deliver a strong campaign. The Falconets have a proud history in this competition, and expectation will once again be high as they prepare to battle some of the best young teams in women football. For Nigeria, it's more than just another tournament. It's another opportunity for these youngsters to announce themselves to the world. And if history is anything to go by, the Falconets will certainly not be traveling to Poland just to make up the numbers. And finally, boxing fan keeps your glove ready. Promoter Eddie Earn remains confident that a blockbuster showdown between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury can still happen despite the setbacks surrounding the proposed fights. The Joshua-Fury clash has been one of boxing's most anticipated potential matchups, with fans eager to see two Britain's biggest heavyweight names finally share the ring. While negotiations and other obstacles have continued to complicate the picture, N believes the fight remains possible, and if these two heavyweights eventually meet, you can expect the boxing world to come to a standstill. And that's a wrap on today's sports updates. Chelsea have their London bragging rights. The Falconets are ready to fly high in Poland, and the Joshua Fury dream refuses to disappear just yet. Thanks for watching. Keep supporting your favorite teams and athletes. And remember, where there's sports, there's always a story. Until next time, stay sharp, stay positive, and keep the passion alive. Coming up next is PG News.
Hi, my name is Hawa Shakiro Wodini, and shout out to S24 for this interview. It was so smooth and so clean. Thank you so much.
Una welcome again, my country people. Naija matter, we know they hear and finish. Number one today be saying now, wow, the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, don't expose new style where bad guys don't they use they use finance terrorism. According to their 2025 annual report, people where they stay outside country, they beg money online, like saying for charity or school fee. But not to fund bad business, they use account of people we don't die, SIM cards, and even put women account under control of men to hide what they do. That's why they convert the money to cash, take buy things like motorcycle, generator, and internet equipment. Security experts say government need sharp trace the money and punish any bank where they allow this kind of bad transaction. And as 2027 election they come close, big politicians don't begin drag mouths for Port Harcourt during the NBA conference. Peter Obi and say make government overhaul security because poverty and unemployment they cause insecurity. Omoyele Showere too don't talk say if they vote am, ain't go return fuel subsidy because remover they only help rich people. Rotimi Amechi supports community policies and economic empowerment instead of state police. Donald Duque say true fuel subsidy no even dey. Make government just use crude oil make petroleum cheap for citizens. Meanwhile, Femi Bajabiamila on defense state police say Nigeria need more police officers because one officer they carry over 600 people. And for Oga Presido side, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu don't give orders, say make government use money where EFCC recover, we no get court case on top, and unclaimed dividends from capital market to take the fund in Nigerian Education Loan Fund. NEL Fund, Minister of Education Maruf Alausa explains, say this one go help make student loans they sustainable, as more than 1.2 million students don't already benefit from the over 322 billion naira where government don't disburse. Federal government don't declare say putting money inside women health no be choice. So they say now by first thing if Nigeria won't really achieve the $1 trillion economy dream. Minister of Women Affairs Iman Suleiman Ibrahim yarned this one for Abuja during the Her Health, Her Power Conference Africa 2026. They say make government, private sector and health workers join hand, make women get better access to healthcare and well-being. And former President Goodluck Jonathan don't talk say if Africa universities continue to the day bottom for world ranking, it go really affect tech and industrial growth. Jonathan yarned this one for Abuja. Him talk say no African university enter top 100 for world, and only University of Cape Town enter top 200. In con they advise make government invest heavily for education and science like Singapore and India do before they turn giant countries. Small wahala don't dey between between America and China as US announced new sanctions to pressure Iran economy. China Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian come out come talk say Beijing no agree with the US action. He call them illegal unilateral sanction. Instead say China will take all necessary steps to protect their rights and business interests. My people, now the major story will happen today be that which one shock you pass? All of them shock me. I go catch now for the next update. My name now Sidika Yusuf. Thank you for that version of our news. And this brings us to the end of S24 Rundown. Do join us next time and remember to follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television for more updates and breaking stories. My name is Gloria Atta. Thanks for watching and bye for now.